We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Andrew Silverfox Hopwood in the main commentary tower here at the Peter Sharp Tower at North Hobart Oval. And there you have the North Hobart Football Club looking absolutely resplendent in their navy blue and pink colours here for the big clash that is the under-15 girls grand final. It is a huge day here at North Hobart. It is the Cripps the Master Bake STJFL grand final day. What a wonderful occasion it is. We've had a couple of cracker games prior to this one. And now the larger girls, incrementally, they get a little bit older, a little bit more powerful. And we are looking forward to what we expect to be a very, very tense struggle as Sandy Bay now are entering the field. And here are the girls from Sandy Bay. What a fantastic, hard-fought victory they had last week in very trying conditions up at Brighton, where they took on the might of the Lauderdale Bombers. And they were surprisingly dominant, surprisingly in that during the year, Lauderdale had been very, very good, and it was thought that they might come up and take on North Hobart, but hats off to these girls, and they would be absolutely thrilled and primed for this big game. It is going to be a very, very exciting encounter, and we can have a look at North Hobart, and they are very, very well drilled and coached by Coach of the Year, which was only given out just recently at the big night out at the Elwick Racecourse, where Jimmy Ransom, the 48-year-old teacher, of course, a lot of good coaches now come from the teaching fraternity. And hats off as well to Callan Ingram, the 17-year-old student for Sandy Bay. He has really got these girls humming, and they've got some belief, and momentum's a good thing in football. And you would think at this stage, if we have a look in the previous encounters, Sandy Bay 44, 6-4, 44, defeated North Hobart 5-6, 37, and then the tables were turned, where North Hobart 10-7, 67 to Sandy Bay 4-3, 27, and then a very, very big win to North Hobart, 10-6, 66 to Sandy Bay. Didn't get and register a score, but this is a different Sandy Bay outfit. They, as we said last week, they really built some momentum, and they will be looking forward to this big game. And here is what the girls are looking forward to when they line up for the national anthem. Things have come a long way in the STJFL, whereas they used to play at some of the minnow grounds for grand finals, but they've really built this to a huge occasion here at North Hobart Oval. So we've got all the girls' grand finals here today, and next week we go again on the Sunday. So if you're out there and enjoying the coverage on Duff TV, and you want to come and look at some supreme football, and you want to come at North Hobart is the place to be. But if not, you just sit back in your armchairs, and all the crew at Duff TV will bring you all the action.
North Hobart and Sandy Bay. We now invite you to join the officials and players and be upstanding for the Australian National Anthem.
Our home is girt by sea.
And isn't it great to see the sheer joy on the girls' faces as the camera went across? We had some fantastic shots of the girls there, and there wasn't a pensive face on them. They were just excited, oozing enjoyment for the game. And I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, as an old warhorse of the caper, the introduction of these young ladies playing is something that I've enjoyed because they get out there and they just seem to enjoy it so much. And you can see from the smiles and the laughter. As we see North Hobart, it's a dead set family affair. As we said, we've got Jimmy Ransom at the helm, and the runner, of course, is his son Chris, and number 55 is Claire Ransom. So it's a big day, as you can see there, the runner Chris just giving some final instructions. Of course, a very, very fine player for the North Hobart Football Club himself. As we can see the girls just breaking up now and going to their ends. And there is another sector of the game I like, just that let's go out and get them and do our best. So Sandy Bay now going out to mark their positions in what is going to be a very exciting day. And we are at the home of football. It is at the North Hobart Oval. And of course, it's a huge shout out to our very dear friends, Cripps, the master baker. Of course, they've been baking bread here in Tasmania since 1878 and a very big sponsor of the STJFL. And we thank them for their support. And so when you're in the supermarkets, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you look for that fine Tasmanian product from the wonderful Tasmanian company supporting the youth and the future of our state. Everything is in readiness. There's not a breath of breeze there. It's a beautiful day here at North Hobart. All we need now is some really, really good footy. It is the under 15 girls as the umpire holds that aloft. That is Samantha Robertson. Great to see the girls go in there, as that's a very nice tap from North Hobart. They're away early. That's what they'd like to do. They probably are the favourites. They want to settle their nerves as they've got a good run on the ball as it comes out towards Fenner. Fenner goes further in, almost dukes one early, but Sandy Bay are steady, very steadfast in defence. This is where a game can't be won, but I can tell you it can be lost. You've got to hold your nerve in grand finals, especially when the ball is in your defensive area. As look at North Hobart, they're running, and that ball has gone end over end, and there are the vagaries of that oval ball as it's gone through for the minor score. And as we just check the score courtesy of the Jackson Motor Company, it is North Hobart one behind to Sandy Bay yet to register. But that's a very nice mark there taken by Morgan. Morgan of Sandy Bay tries to go out towards that outer side. We can see North Hobart kicking towards the highway end, and Sandy Bay, they're kicking toward the Mount Wellington end as that's in the clutches. Coming out with that one again is Emma Fenner. She's been pretty dominant early on, a couple of key possessions. Over the back, beautiful work there by White. And Gracie White, we might have just put that through. We might just check that one on the Mood Food replay. She seems pretty happy with herself as she's going back into her position. You can see here, she just got the toe on that as she was tackled, and Grace White has put that one through. And for a favourite team, that would be a nice steadier, just to get the nerves jangled ends, just to calm them down to think, yes, we've been the best team overall, and now it's about comforting ourselves and going on with the job. That's a great play now. So Sandy Bay, they just trying to gain some metres here. Going out there nicely, onto the ball. That's Gasparini. Couldn't quite pull that one in, but now she gets it end over end back in towards the centre of the ground. Just trying to settle themselves now as they trying to push their way through. That's very, very strong play by Sandy Bay. They can't get it out, but they're wrapping it up, and it'll be a ball up as umpire Samantha Roberts is coming in to bounce that ball. Throws it aloft. Nice tap out there. North Hobart doing all the right things in these early stages, just trying to ease their confidence. Great tackle, and it is going to be another ball up. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a crackerjack game, and as I mentioned just a few moments ago, we have to thank our very dear friends at Cripps the Master Baker, and I tell you what, I could not be happier as I've got a grin from ear to ear as joining me in the commentary box is Paul Godomsky, the CEO of Cripps, the Master Baker, and of course the president of the Kingborough Football Club. Paul, that was a great victory of the girls in just a few minutes ago.
It was an awesome fighting effort by the Tigers, Hoppy.
It certainly was, and we look forward to you giving your knowledge to this game in just a few moments. It's North Hobart go forward. We'll come back to that in just a minute. It's almost into that forward 50. They're working their way around. Well played by Denny. Hooks it back around. Oh, there was our goal scorer, Gracie White, trying to get the big one there. It's on the ground, and Sandy Bay get their foot to it. They're just trying to clear it. There'll be a few nerves down there, Paul.
On the ground, yeah. Grand final nerves, I think. Always tough on the younger kids. Probably didn't sleep much last night.
Yeah, but as long as they got up and had a nice breakfast, of course you'd be getting a bit of fruit toast, didn't you?
Fruit toast and Cripps Master Loaf, mate.
Beautiful work. I think that'd be nothing better than that. As we can see now, that ball is kicked in, Sandy Bay. Of course, last time they played, Paul, Sandy Bay absolutely were throttled by North Hobart. They showed some dominance because Sandy Bay in the first round were the victors. Then North Hobart came back, so it's 2-1 to them. But they had a really courageous win last week against Lauderdale. So they'd want to just stay with North Hobart, wouldn't they, in these early stages, just to build some belief.
Get a bit of pressure on the ball carrier, I think, Hoppy. Always helps.
Yeah, we can see now the hooking of pressure. That's the sort of tackle that you want, but it comes down over the back. And beautiful work there by Mirren Swift. And she's put that one through, just waiting out the back. That was clever play by her. She reminds me of Teddy Hopkins back in 1970 when you and I had a bit of a glint in our eye and we saw the great man come on in the 70. Have a look at her back there, and she snapped that goal through. As we just check the Jackson Motor Company scoreboard, that is 2-2-14 to Sandy Bay yet to score.
I can't really remember back that far, Hoppy.
Well, I know you're only a young man.
Yeah, it's a different generation there.
It certainly was, but if you get your old VCR or DVD or whatever it is you get out, just have a look at that young man. There's that ball coming up, and Sandy Bay would just want to settle their nerves just a little bit here, because if North Hobart Paul get a wriggle on, they could be the juggernaut here today, couldn't you? Would you think?
Oh, you've always got to support the underdog, but the girls are certainly attacking the ball quite fiercely here in the forward line.
Well, here's an opportunity. They go inside 50, so we'll see what the girls can do in the back line as they clear that one back out towards the centre of the ground. That's a fierce, controlling ball. Picking it up, showing great pace there. Oh, that was a clever kick. Went back inboard. Can't quite take it, but keeping her eye on the onion there was Carney for Sandy Bay. Hasn't took it. Look at that great tackle. That's the sort of thing that lifts the team. It's down here towards that wing position. Sandy Bay now take possession, barging their way through North Hobart, but Sandy Bay now back in trying to find some ascendancy. Well played by Parker. Parker tries to get the handball further out. It's close in there, and the umpire will have a throw up. Now just take us back to that last game. The Dogs were clearly undefeated pretty much for all the year, and then the Tigers have just come up. They'd be cock-a-hoot down at Tigerland, wouldn't they?
Oh, certainly very, very happy, the girls. They worked hard to set themselves for that game today and followed the coach's instructions to a T. I think that's what it's all about, listening to the coach, playing the team game and implementing.
And it'd be nice that you probably get an employee back this week. I do know that the coach of Claremont, Jim Horn, of course, doubles up, or triples up if you like. He's also the president of the STJFL, and of course he's I think he's just almost in charge. He tells me he's almost over you. He might get some work done this week.
Oh, I'm not expecting to see him tomorrow for Mad Monday. I think we might see him out there in his Bulldog outfit somewhere on the town. Oh,
fantastic. And there we go, North Hobart. They're repelling. I tell you what, they're holding up well, Paul. The defensive work there of North Hobart, they're running. And if you can see here, look at that, just streaming out of defence. Sandy Bay have had the ball in their 50. But they haven't been able to capitalise at this stage. And here's an opportunity, but backing back now is Denny, and she's been fantastic down back. But Sandy Bay now get the ball. Here's a big opportunity, running end over end, you can see there. But just picking that ball up, that was well played by Gandhi. She could be caught. And here's an opportunity for Sandy Bay. Let's have a look here. Got the tackle there and didn't dispose of it well. And now, can they kick this much needed goal, as McMahon will take a shot on goal, Paul. Here she goes. She decides to go the short pass. That was very unselfish.
Yeah, it was.
but chipping in is North Hobart yet again. Back towards that true centre half back position. That's Denacute for North Hobart. She's been really good in the early stages, playing the old Pagans paddock, and here it could play dividends, but it's going out, and it's going to be a boundary throw in. It's a wonderful, wonderful time of the year, Paul, isn't it, this grand final weekends?
Yeah, it could be a bit warmer today though, but that's can't be booked in all the time.
Yeah, well, spring has sprung, but...
Tell you what, Carney's like a bit of a Great Wall of China there at...
she certainly is, isn't she?
Half forward, Hoppy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sandy Bay have had that ball across half forward plenty of times, but they just can't get it past her. She has been dominant so far. Picking that ball up there was McLeod. McLeod tries to get the handball out for one of the teammates. They've had the possession, and North Hobart have just been able to repel those attacks now as it's back in towards the centre of the ground, and over there, and the umpire has called it in, and umpire Monks will throw that one up. There they go. Nice work. That was Prescott for Sandy Bay. She tried to get a hand to it, barging their way through. That is Denny. She's been terrific so far, but it's not going to go any further, and it's going to be another ball up as umpire Monks. I was just talking before, Paul, it is a dead set family affair for North Hobart. There are 3 ransoms out there, so you could imagine this morning the talk over the breakfast.
It'd be all about footy for sure.
Isn't it great to see families getting involved like that?
Actually, I'm liking the pink on the North Hobart jumpers. Is that a trend, Hoppy?
It certainly is, and I think that that pink shirt that you've got on looks really, really nice. It really brings out the blue in your eyes. As North Hobart now, they shirk that particular tackle. That was young Claire Ransom. One of the girls we've spoken about now is Chelsea Thomas, who's been terrific down half back. She's really nuggety, and she's determined as well the way she runs now. It's back in towards the centre of the ground. Some of these games can be low scoring, so you've just got to hang in there, don't you? Never give up.
Never give up. Points can be very, very handy.
And even in that last game, as we go back to that, what about Claremont? They had the ball down there, but they
just couldn't capitalise.
Couldn't, could they? And it must have been tense down there at Tigerland.
It was. I think some of the parents were just about covering their eyes. They couldn't watch. It was very, very exciting.
Oh, no doubt about that. It is STJFL football at its best. 3,500 kiddies playing week in, week out in what is the biggest competition in Tasmania, and bursting their way through again is Caitlin Denny, and the umpire has blown the whistle, and she has tried to take on one too many, and the Lions will repel that. And you would have thought that coach Callum Ingram would be pretty happy at this stage, Paul, that they are 14 points down, but they are really staying in the game and they're competing well.
Certainly had a bit of ball in the last 10 minutes, but can't capitalise through that half-forward line at the moment.
Interesting some of the setups there. Each time the ball goes out, there's just on that half-back flank, if you like, for North Hobart, they're running a few spares there. So both teams are running a few spares across both the back line as Carney picks that one up, and it goes to that half-forward line. Here it is now. They've got to compete hard now. Excuse me, you can see the 50 mark there, keeping their feet, and that's a prime thing you've got to do in the footy is stay on your feet. Once you get off your feet, you're out of the contest. As that one's picked up nicely by Lovelace, booting it further afield. Gee, coming out now is Swift by name and nature as she's kicked that ball towards the goals. Oh, it's gone through. Big chance coming over the back and picking that one up is Ella McConnon, and has slipped that one through. And I tell you what, Paul, Sandy Bay were dominant. They had all the play, and the first time back inside the 50, and the Demons have kicked that goal.
Yeah, certainly a goal against the flow of play there, but how many times, Hoppy, do you see that happen in football?
Oh, that's just a little bit unlucky. Attacking the ball was Sullivan, and it's just kept a little bit low on her and gone through to the back, and really reading the play well, and you can see the smile. That has dead set gone from one ear to the other. She is absolutely thrilled, and Coach of the Year, Ransom, I reckon he'd be pretty pleased the way his thoroughbreds have settled down here, Paul.
certainly the first to settle, but you can't get too confident early. There's a long way to go in this game, Hoppy.
There certainly is. So it is the first quarter in the Cripps the Master Bake STJFL Grand Final under 15 girls here at the home of footy. Oh, I know Bluntstone is probably the home now, Paul, of the modern day kiddies, but you give me this oval any day of the week.
Oh, there's a pretty good ground down there at Lauderdale. We were down there a few weeks ago. Very, very hospitable down there.
Well, I do say it's probably a good move by you to probably get a few more bigger games down there. It's got a great atmosphere about it, that community feel. I say bring back the cars, get the honking of the horns.
Plenty of seagulls down there, Hoppy.
There are a few seagulls down there, and it's I'm glad that you mentioned it, down at the wonderful area, of course, the Julie K. Tip Memorial. It's a fantastic ground and a wonderful, wonderful club.
Here we go. Here's a chance.
Oh, just spent that one. She ran in towards the goal, but lost the handle on it, unfortunately for Sandy Bay, as it comes back now. And beautiful pick up there by young Claire Ransom. And she has repelled what was a very, very promising attack as the girls go up, and there is a clash.
Of heads.
Have a look at that. As we can see here, the courage coming in here, keeping their eyes on the ball. It was great to see young Emma Fenner go back and just see how her counterpart was there, Paul. Great sportsmanship.
Great sportsmanship, or sportswomanship, I think we should say today, Hoppy.
Oh, gee whiz, the CEO's just corrected the kid. It is sports personship, no doubt about that, as it goes towards centre half forward. But you know what I mean? That was just a wonderful where two competitors going forward. Oh, here's a good handball as it comes out towards McConnell, who's kicked that last sausage. And I tell you what, I think that she's kicked another one. Oh, that's terrific play. We might have a look at the Mood Food replay. I think we can see here as it's spilled out, picking up the ball here. What about that great vision there by Grace White, Paul?
Wasn't a bad hand pass there under pressure either, just quietly.
And Grace, who is a goal scorer, and she's noted for that, and she's got one already, but she saw that Ella McConnell was in a better position than her, and at 15 minutes gone, and there is the siren for quarter time, and that's a terrific quarter by the North Hobart Football Club.
In the STJFL Under 15 Youth Girl Grand Final, and it's North Hobart 4-2-26. Leading Sandy Bay Blue yet to score. Goal kickers for North Hobart, 2 to Ella McConnell and 1 each to Grace White and Mirren Swift.
So, Paul, in that first quarter, as we just sort of said, I think it's most important that in a grand final you try and settle as quickly as you possibly can. And as the favourites, North Hobart did that so well.
They certainly got the job done then, but I wouldn't be too disheartened yet as a Sandy Bay Lion. Certainly the effort's there. A bit unlucky up forward a couple of times. Could have been a lot closer result here at quarter time if just a couple of things went their way there. So I think they should be pretty proud of their effort so far. Certainly not out of this yet. Yeah,
look, I know that you've watched a lot of footy and of course, you've got a degree in coaching. You coach in the rowing, and I know you have aspirations to coach at the higher level in footy. If I just pick your AFL brain there, would you make any changes for Sandy Bay across that half-forward flank? Because for me, maybe that's where they were just let down. Not let down, but they just couldn't get it past that half-back flank line, could they, for North Hobart? They were really good.
Yeah, they were. Sometimes in these type of games, Hoppy, you've got to make the coaches move, the coaches call and roll the dice, and I think young Eloise Carney there showed that she can take a grab. Maybe it'd be worthwhile throwing her up forward and kicking the ball in long to her to see whether she can contest and give them that opportunity that they just didn't seem to have in that quarter.
I know as an old veteran of the caper of this coaching thing, I used to get the board out and get 3 magnets, and what I'd do, I'd play some fair across that half-back flank. That was my great wall of China. I'd put my best players there, and whatever it'd do to give you a bit of run as well, so it'd set you up. But I was a bit of old-fashioned. I'd like to stop them first, and then I'd really get those blokes to run from there.
Well, that's the Brendan Bolton style of coaching there.
Oh,
Hoppy.
Don't put me in the Brendan Bolton mould. I mean, I've got a few medals around my neck, son. I've got the flags down there to prove it down at the tip. I don't know about this.
Tell you what, Hoppy, there's something you don't see every day, a blue and white dog.
A blue and white, the Carlton dog, is that right? It is a blue and white. Is that a dog? I don't know if we can get a bit of vision of that one. One of our cameramen down there, just to the right of us. It is a blue and white dog. Well, there you go. I thought you were going mad there for a minute, but there's no doubt about that. It's a Sandy Bay dog. That's the Sandy Bay mascot. In fact, that's not a dog, it's a lion.
It does. It looks a bit like a lion, doesn't it?
And here we can go. We can have a look down here at Supercoach Ransom, just explaining things. And gone are the days, isn't it, where you just get out and rant and rave. Although sometimes I don't mind a little bit of that sort of thing. You can see here the teaching background coming out in Coach Ransom. He's just explaining what he's liked and what he hasn't liked. As there is the lion from Sandy Bay, looking somewhat fearsome, and isn't it great that they're getting in the spirit of the Cripps STJFL football grand finals here at North Hobart Oval.
It would be interesting to know whether the dog was a willing participant in that, though.
You think a bit of cruelty might have got on there. But have a look down there at Sandy Bay at their quarter time. It's great to see they are really encouraging each other.
They're still up and about.
Oh, they are, and why wouldn't you be? You can see here, and even before the match, prior to you coming into the commentary booth, Paul, I have to say that's one of the things I've enjoyed so much in STJFL this year is the smiles on the girls. They're just enjoying their footy so much.
They certainly are, and it's great to see the amount of girls that are rocking up. Like even at Tigerland, you know, we get new ones every year, and they're so confident, and they walk in through the gate by themselves and say, "I just want to play footy."
Yep. Well, that's exactly what happened, dare I say it, down at Lauderdale, and for quite some time, unlike your good selves who have that magnificent facility and you've got ovals just coming out of your ears, we had to put it off a little bit because we didn't know where to house them. But now we said, no, we're going ahead, full steam ahead. We've got girls competing in all but under 17, but next year that'll be filled. We had a female senior team played in the SFL, and they had 32 players, and they just had a ball. And they joined the men for meals on a Thursday night, and it just brings that thing to the club that's just different, and it's a great vibe. Absolutely great vibe.
Certainly is, and we're very, very proud of our Tiger women this year. First Tigers team to play finals footy. It's fantastic.
It's excellent. I know that you and I have attended a couple of meetings this year, and we've spoken about that, and you tell me how much they do enjoy it. But it is back here to what is the under-15 girls grand final, and that quarter went to North Hobart. As we can see there, they are leading by 26 points, but don't get that false sense of security, ladies and gentlemen, because as Paul and I alluded to, Sandy Bay had a fair bit of the onion. They just couldn't quite get it through the goal. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get that first one. Who knows? The floodgates can open. That might build a little bit of confidence, but it is North Hobart at the moment. They take the handball and they try and go forward. And that was really nice play by Chelsea Thomas, who's been really good. She tries to give the don't argue and gives a nice push off. She reminded me there of Kuta Feedy's in a youth there. Paul, that was like really strong.
Good run here and good chip over.
Gee whiz, that was lovely play now. That was Sophie Abel, but it's been cut off across half back, and that's what I spoke about at quarter time, where they have been really strong, have North Hobart. Nice play by Ransom.
Yes, and it looks like the Sandy Bay coach has rolled the dice a bit here. I noticed Carney's up on the ball this quarter.
Oh, gee, terrific. And there you are. That frustrated coach in you has really come out. And it's great to see that when you went missing just for those few minutes, you must have run down there and had a bit of a whisper in the coach's ear and said to young Callum, now listen, I run the show over at Cripps and I order you to make those moves. So well done and hats off to you. So here are Sandy Bay. And it is Sophie Abel, and she looks quite likely. Drop punt, and that's another good inside 50. Just goes over the head there of Silverless, but she couldn't quite get it. Oh, here's a chance. Just can't get the handle on it. Oh, that was very unfortunate. And that was Alice McMahon, who'd made really good position there, Paul, and just came over the back. But what's happened here?
Oh, it's a free kick to Sandy Bay.
Oh, so that just checking there. So that point doesn't exist.
Count.
Doesn't count. And now it's going to be a kick on goal. It's a left footer.
I think she's got it.
Gee, I tell you what, she has put that one through very confidently and competently.
And lovely work by the goal umpire there. Did you notice that style, Hoppy?
It's young. That's brilliant. I think that's, is that Donny? Have a look at this. Up, down, down.
Beautiful.
Gee, that's great. Let's have a look at our goal scorer there. That was a very, very accurate kick. I'll just pick up that one in a minute and getting the high fives. And very nicely played here. We can see that left footer. Really nice shot. Kept the hands low, didn't she?
Interesting. She went for the drop punt there, like most players would have pulled out the check side, but she had the confidence to drill it straight through the middle.
Where do you stand on that? Are you a check side man, or just go back and drill it?
Go back and drill it. Use your skill.
Gee, I like to see that. Just shows your confidence, doesn't it? No doubt about that, as Sullivan picks that one up.
Tell you what, Hoppy, Sandy Bay throwing down the gauntlet.
Oh, they're starting to lift, and this is just what the game needed. And I hope you're enjoying it out there. This big game is coming to you from Duff TV, and there was our goal scorer. I think that was Lucy Roberts who scored that last one, and she was a very accurate kick. But breaking out now is Emma Fenner, and she's been terrific. She's got a bit of dash about her. Now that picking it up, that's Rimmer. Rimmer tries to get that ball out as she was knocked off her knees, but look at this, Jack in the box.
There.
Oh, what a
unlucky.
tackle.
Great chase.
Gee whiz, that's the never die attitude. And that's McLeod. And have a look at the determination. I've got you, wrapped her up and put her to the ground. That's the sort of thing that can really lift a team. As it comes over the back, that was Rogers at centre half back. Really nice smother there by Prescott. And you can really sense that they're lifting. Maybe the mascot's doing something, Paul.
It could be. Isn't it fantastic to see girls of that age having the courage to take the game on and have a bounce?
Oh, it certainly is. It's going now towards that forward area as Maya Prescott for Sandy Bay was there fighting really hard, picking it up. I think that's another drop in the ball. And that's 2 tackles by McLeod have been fantastic, Paul.
Certainly in the last 5 minutes, I think the lines have settled well and are starting to lift Hoppy.
Well, Koselak there getting a nice play. That was one of the set plays that we saw them practice, and she's smothered again as Sarah Koselak comes back further afield to Lucy Roberts, who scored that goal just a few minutes ago. And they're really starting to build, and big Sandy Bay flotilla have got their Mercedes-Benzes out of the driveways and driven them up here from Sandy Bay, Paul.
Yeah, Koselak is actually Lacasseljak.
It's Lacasseljak?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. I just put that in to see if you're going to pick that up. So that's fantastic by you, because there's a lot of foreign names. There's a kid who plays for you in the seniors at Godowski. What's that boy?
Gaddy.
Yeah, Gaddy. No doubt about that. So it's really good that we can get our tongue around. Anyone can play this caper. From all around the world we come, Paul, which is brilliant. So now that's Gracie White, who's moved down there, and she's been really good and got that goal. But just streaming out there is Meeburn. Meeburn back towards the centre of the play. Nicely done there as Carney couldn't quite pick it up. Now they get the hammer on that one, and that's Prescott, who just gets it in towards the centre of the ground. They're really lifting up a notch now as they're holding firm. It is 6 minutes gone in the second quarter. It is the grand final in the under 15 girls, is picking that one up and driving them forward, and standing tall there at centre half back was really nice play by Kennedy. Comes back over to Silverless. Can't pick up the ball, but now she can. She's helped by Clerk. Clerk just tries to move that one out. A little bit stagnant in their play just there and trying to move that ball out. Gee, this is really nice play yet again by Fenner, overrunning the onion at this time. Gets the handball out, but blocked off. She was looking for Rimmer, but Sandy Bay are really holding firm, and if they can do that and get another one, they can really build some belief. But it is North Hobart now. They've got it in towards their forward line, and the tackling is some of the feature. Tackling here, Paul, is really, really good.
Certainly going hard at it. There's no doubt about that. Interesting contest there at half forward.
Certainly was, and that was a really nice spoil by Rimmer. Did the team things, and bursting their way through was Thomas. She's been terrific, keeping their eye on the ball. What about the courage shown there by Rimmer? Went to play on really, really quickly, and just got away from her, and that has gone out on the full.
Actually, it's an interesting list there from Sandy Bay, Hoppy. Seeing a name like Lacasseljak on there, big soccer family, that one.
Very much
the
so.
Lacasseljak Cup. be interesting conversation around the dinner table, I would think.
Do you reckon they even talk about Aussie rules? I reckon if Sarah has her way, she might bring it up. No doubt about that.
I think her dad might think she's playing with the wrong shaped ball.
Did you ever play any of the footy? Footy or soccer? What are those two capers? Give us a little bit of your pedigree, Paul.
Pedigree. I started playing AFL footy as a junior. I played for a good Catholic school on the Eastern Shore in the STJFL, Corpus Christi. Spent a few years there and then decided that I'd rather row.
Oh, well, a big, strong fella like you. But talking of strong, what about this young girl from North Hobart? She broke through, was Grace White, and has hit the post. So the rowing, got the bug for rowing, and you kept at the caper?
Yeah, kept at the caper for 20 years and then gave a lot back to the sport, coaching for around 10 years. Yeah, very, very, very good thing to do when a sport's been a big part of your life, to actually give something back to the kids. I
have to say, and I have really enjoyed my coaching tenure for years with the young kids, and you watch them go from young men or young women, whoever you are, as North Hobart try and move that one on quickly now and develop. And so there's a lot of young kids that I used to coach now. I see them as strapping young 6.5 feet, 25-year-olds, and "G'day, Fox, how you going?" And that's the reward. It's fantastic that that's the case. And seeing them evolve as we're talking about the future here. These young ladies, most of them 13, 14-year-olds, as that was a really nice tackle, as Swift has been rewarded, and she is going to take a kick. So if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, I surely couldn't coach, it's a little bit too hard, both Paul and I urge you to get out of the chair and have a crack at it, because it is very, very rewarding. As North Hobart pick that up, they get a bit of a handball. Comes further afield now. That was nicely done by Swift as it goes back in. Another very, very hard contest, but Sandy Bay are good enough to mop that one up. And I tell you what, the crowd's really getting involved here as well, Paul.
Yeah, nice mark there by Sandy Bay, and she's taken the game on with a bounce as well, Hoppy.
Yes,
and number 2.
Look at that. That was Sophie Abel, and I think she might have been related to Guy Abel. I've seen him going down around there. And of course, he used to be quite swift.
Certainly very athletic, that young lady. Bit of pace.
No doubt about that. And look
awesome
at that
tackle.
Strong tackling there, but like a pickpocket.
Not
Rivers
rewarded by the umpire, that one.
Oh, but of course the umpire made the right decision though, Paul, didn't they? Surely. And now look at the run that they're getting. That's your girl there, like a Seljack.
I think the confidence from the Lions has just gone to another level. A couple of girls there willing to take the game on and try and move the ball through the centre, which is what they've got to do.
There's been a whistle, and might have been just tripped. And so Sandy Bay now on that wing position are going to go into attack. They are 10 minutes gone into this second quarter. It is the under-15 ladies grand final here at North Hobart Oval, and it is Andrew Silver Fox Hopwood doing the main commentary. I'm very pleased to be joined by Paul Godomsky, my special guest co-commentator here in the Peter Sharp Tower. As Sandy Bay to keep that ball going in front of me. That was Bluey Carney. She's been really good down back as well. That almost goes straight up and down. Underneath it was Prescott. Kept her eye on the ball as she went the punch, and staying steadfast there at centre half back is Meeburn. Just looking to go a bit of a switch here, Paul. I think this is what they've got to try and do. At the moment, they're probably going up through the corridor. I'd like to see them maybe take the blinkers off and try and spread North Hobart a bit.
Especially with that run they've shown in the last 5 minutes. Maybe push it a bit wide, change the game plan a bit and run onto it. Might be what they need. Especially
when we saw the pace of Abel and McLeod as well, is maybe just sort of try and get them out and see if they can run that ball down the wings, because at the moment North Hobart seem to have the numbers across that centre part of the ground, but really fighting hard there was Olivia Clerk for Sandy Bay. North Hobart pushing that one forward. As I alluded to in the previous encounters, it was Sandy Bay who won the first one. That was 44-36, and then North Hobart really turned it and their season around with a 67-27. but back on the 12th of the 8th, Paul, it was 66-0. So Sandy Bay will be cock-a-hoot now that it is 27-7 coming up towards half-time. They would still build some belief that they are in this game.
Second half of a grand final, bit of a pep talk by the coach at half-time, reset and come out. There's no reason why, if they want it hard enough, they can't turn this one around, Hoppy.
Absolutely. So Sandy Bay now picking that one up as they go towards the wing position. They've got a bit of space, but in come North Hobart to try and spoil the party. It was picked up by McLeod, and she's been terrific as it comes down towards Gray. Gray goes back down towards the true centre half forward position, but standing firm was Prescott, but she has been mauled by what is a tsunami of girls coming forward there from North Hobart, and they really are hunting in numbers, aren't they?
Operating very well defensively, North Hobart at this point in time. Certainly got, it looks like, a few extra numbers behind the ball, which is working to their advantage. And why not? They're 20 points up coming into half-time in the grand final.
Absolutely. As Denacue for North Hobart picked that one up and just gets them forward. It is an arm wrestle. There is no doubt about that. These girls are really fighting hard as Roberts, who's down half back, and she was the goal scorer early on. Oh, there's plenty of space now. Oh, look at it. They come back inside. Here's a big chance. Shouldn't quite get it if able. You know, if she gets it, she can run. Just can't quite bend over and pick that one. But here she is now. She tries to get that one out, but it's smothered. Well picked up, and in goes Clerk, and holding the ball. And there is this half-back line have been so strong, Paul, and that was another good tackle by Fenner.
Yeah, but it's going to head back there, I think, Hoppy. Some hard work happening on ball there by the Sandy Bay defenders.
So it is back out onto that true wing position, bending over, doing the hard work there was Carney. But it's North Hobart to pick the ball up. Really good to see the high hands and getting that handball out was Rimmer. There's been a whistle on play and been deemed that she held the ball a little bit too long, and Olivia Clerk will take the free kick. Clerk, nice looking kick, but not to the advantage of the forwards. They are a little bit stagnant there, Paul. They weren't moving. You'd like to see them sort of move up a little bit more.
It's been quite a physical encounter, and I think the girls are looking towards a bit of a rest at half-time to come out nice and refreshed. Maybe get some of those oranges and snakes in at half-time to refuel.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think they'll keep those oranges going at half-time and just keep the snakes a little bit of a sugar hit towards that last quarter. And here is Sandy Bay just trying to keep going in meterage as Meeburn was doing a really nice job. And there is that tackling weapon that is McLeod, as the siren has gone here for half-time in the Cripps STJFL
in the under 15
grand final. So as the ground announcer takes over, it is a very good lead there to North Hobart.
4-3-27 to Sandy Bay Blue 1-1-7. Goal kickers for North Hobart, 2 to Ella McConnell, 1 each to Mirren Swift and Grace White. For Sandy Bay Blue, the goal kicker was Lucy Roberts.
Okay, so it is half-time, and you've just pointed out, Paul, there's a bit of an injury down there to one of the Sandy Bay girls. She's being carried. Let's hope that's not too serious, but she doesn't look great, does she? Yeah, that's Sullivan.
I don't think she'll be taking any further part in the game, which is unfortunate, which means they'll be down on the rotations a little bit in the second half. But it's moments like this when the rest of the players in the team have to step up and take their opportunity, Hoppy.
There's no doubt about that. So as the girls leave the ground, just confirming at half-time, ladies and gentlemen, it is North Hobart 4-3-27 to Sandy Bay 1-1-7 in the Cripps STJFL under 15 girls grand final. We are going to take a break here from North Hobart Oval, so now's the time to nip out of the lounge chair, and I urge you to go and make your sandwich and get that Cripps bread out and make some wonderful lunch, get your cup of tea, and we'll be back very, very shortly with all the big moments in the second half of the grand final.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat, milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat, milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning. Cripps, baking for Tasmanians since 1878.
In today's world of self-service, it's nice to know that there's still a place where you can sit back and relax. Bennett's Driveway Service, now at Snug, Lerner Valley and Sandy Bay. For more than 40 years, Bennett's Petroleum has been there for all Tasmanians.
There's a sound. It's the sound of new beginnings, the heartbeat of change. To some, it's a loud voice. To others, it gently whispers. You'll know that sound when you hear it. Listen. Start your search.
We've journeyed over the seas, expanded city streets, and pioneered new ways of doing things, so we could craft the greatest loaf of bread for all Tasmanians to taste. At the heart of Cripps are baking and community. At Cripps, we hand test our dough every day. Our flour comes from the finest wheat, milled right here in Tasmania. And we employ over 200 Tasmanians to bake bread for 1,000 times that many. For over 140 years, we've been refining our craft. A century of early mornings, exploration and discoveries. With time comes quality. At Cripps, that's what we take pride in. Quality bread, baked for you, right here in Tasmania. We're proud of where we've come from, but we're even more excited about where we're headed. 140 years on, the journey's only just beginning.
So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to North Hobart Oval. It is the under-15 Cripps STJFL Grand Final in the Ladies Division. And it is North Hobart. They are 4-3-27 to the Bay 1-1-7. But Paul, in that second quarter, Sandy Bay had a lot of the ball and they looked dangerous.
Yeah, I just nicked down to the rooms at half-time there and the coach spoke about effort, working as a team, keeping that work rate up and just trying to get the ball a bit longer into the forward line to give them a chance with the pace that they seem to have up there. And Coach Ingram, is he positive? Very positive. The girls are up and about. They're down one player. So the girls felt quite emotional about that, and I think they'll lift for their teammate in this second half.
Gee whiz, and I went in, excuse me, I went and had a listen to Coach Ransom, and he was really happy with the form. He said to the girls, you're doing all the right things. He was really impressed by the determination across half back. He thought he liked the way we kept the forward line open, he said. And he said, just keep going like that, have belief. We've been terrific all season, and we just got to keep going for that second half. And he says, just keep doing what we've been doing. So out they come. And it is Meeburn who goes forward for Sandy Bay, but playing from behind, and they've got to get in front across that half forward flank. Sandy Bay, yet again, lovely bit of handball, and comes out to the young lady who I really rate. That is McLeod. McLeod gets it inside 50. We've got 2 entries already, but they've only been shallow entries. They've got to get that nice deep entry, as coming out now was Roberts. Roberts, the centre half forward, has been pretty strong for them. They've got to get the ball in quickly to her though, Paul.
Yeah, Chelsea Thomas there showed a bit of endeavour as well. Certainly eyes for the ball. She wanted it more that time, but free kick's been awarded to the Lions.
She's a very determined young lady, but I'm just looking down at our computer, which we've got in front of us, and McLeod has got 8 tackles. She is leading the forays as far as that is concerned, and that's the sort of stuff that does lift a team. It's those little 1%ers. In fact, on that note, I happened to be at Smart Park last night in Launceston, and there were 2 occasions. One when a young man, Matt McGuinness, spoiled a ball right as Launceston were having a shot for goal, and it went up the other end, and that really lifted the Bombers, and they went on from there. So it's those little 1%ers are the things that really can make a difference as North Hobart try and clear that one, but they can't. A little bit of a bumping over there. That was well played by Summers. Can't get the ball, and a swing and a miss.
Yeah, shot on goal here. Good pressure by the Lions there in that contested situation, and rewarded by the umpire.
Okay, so it is McMahon. She's going to have a shot now. I think a bit too far out, Paul.
Not looking confident.
But she's done the team thing.
Kick.
Absolutely magnificent kick there. Looking for Morgan, who had a back to it, and she went back in with great courage. Looking further afield for Roberts. Can't quite pull that one off, and good forward play by Morgan, trying to keep it in. And there's been a couple of tough encounters. There's a really good tackle and another drop in the ball. And the Sandy Bay are really lifting the intensity, and if they can get this first one, who knows, there could be some belief in this as we have a look at the Mood Food replay, and that was a lovely, lovely tackle.
Certainly listen to their coach at half-time. The work rate's up, Poppy.
Have a look at that long, long kick, and
nice mark there by North Hobart.
Gee whiz. I think there's been a whistle. There might have been just overdoing it on the mark and overstepping it, and very unfortunately that's cost 50 metres.
Takes the pressure right off now.
Gee whiz. Sandy Bay too actually did the right thing and actually played in front, but that kick was huge.
It was.
So it came back in towards the centre, and they've had the ball. It's 3 minutes of play, and they have had 100% of possession, as you can see here. Really fighting hard was Eloise Carney, and she's really trying to lift her team as, again, another forward entry.
She needs to lift Hoppy. She was a little bit quiet in that second quarter after a good, solid first quarter.
Certainly was, and there is Claire Ransom, part of the trio of Ransom. Rimmer picks that ball up, but again the tackling machine is McLeod, and that is her 10th effective tackle. Brilliant performance by her. She is right on the wing position. You can see there in front of the George Miller stand, very famously the Ryde Street, where all the fanatical North Hobart supporters have sat over the years, and excuse me, wouldn't they love it where they've sat there and watched the great Johnny Devine, John Leaderman. Now they're watching a new crop. These young ladies coming through to represent their club, Paul.
Yeah, certainly exciting time for women's footy, with the under-18 team going into the TAC Cup full-time in 2020. They're starting to build and select, you know, the girls for that era, and no doubt there'll be selectors here today keeping an eye on this game, Hoppy.
Absolutely. That was Fenner across half-back, who was very, very good. It comes back out towards Lovelace, and she goes further afield. And Mirren Swift, who has already got 1 goal, has taken a very, very nice mark. She's just being put on the angle. As she gets the kick, it's going close. And I think she has put that one through, so...
Stephen Kernahan would have been proud of that helicopter there, Hoppy.
Certainly was. Have a look at that. That was a really lovely lead, and had taken the mark. And Mirren Swift has put that one through for her second goal.
Go wild.
Gee whiz, isn't it fantastic here at North Hobart? But it was with almost 5 minutes of play. That's the first forward entry by North Hobart, and they capitalised with that goal. So it's all about scoreboard pressure, Paul.
It is, and efficiency as well. 1 entry, 1 goal. The coach would have to be very, very happy about that.
What it does do, it sort of deflates the opposition as well, because you sort of think, we had the ball, we had it down there, and we didn't make anything of it. But they are very determined down there at Sandy Bay as they get another forward entry. But again, across half-back flank, that is where they've been really good as Rimmer picks it up. She goes further afield. And what we spoke about just a few minutes ago, Paul, we should elaborate on. Excuse me. So these young ladies have got a dead set pathway, haven't they? From Auskick, they can now plan that they can play for the, what are we calling? We are the North Hobart Tasmanian Roos. Is that how it goes, Paul?
I wouldn't say the North Hobart Tasmania.
Sorry, North Melbourne, I apologise. Well picked up there, just keeping me honest.
I think their home
the
ground,
combo.
Their home ground might be here at North Hobart, but
which they're going to play, I think. This is where it's going to look like it's going to be the headquarters. In fact, we are sitting in the Peter Sharp Tower, and we understand that that might go for some. I know I've been talking to the directors of North Hobart Football Club, and they've put in for a series of grants, and it looks like where we're actually sitting will be a new media centre, new change rooms for the ladies. So I just think that over the summer months, where this is not used, of course, for cricket, what a wonderful place to come and watch women's football in the National League.
Yeah, there's better surfaces around, Hoppy. There's, but certainly in terms of the size of the ground, this one is ideal for women's footy, and you know, to have the opportunity for these young ladies to graduate into the TAP Cup and ultimately get looked at to play AFLW is fantastic. Absolutely.
Well, it's centrally located though, so you can make if it's a Friday night game, I mean, you can have a little bit of a wander down there. You might get a little bit of Chinese, a little bit of something down there at the North Hobart Strip and just wander up. So
it could be like the old days. We could go down to the Buffalo for a palmy and then up to watch the footy.
Oh, bring it back. They're the sort of days when I had colour in my hair and a bit of a jump in my step, and I used to come and watch the footy. Loved it here when there were very, very big crowds, but that will be the thing. Tassie footy is on the march, and we'll talk a little bit about that as the coverage goes on. But back to this game, that was a lovely mark there by Claire Ransom, and she got that forward, and White has taken another mark. So they're just starting to steady a little bit. 33-7 is a very nice lead at this stage. And although Sandy Bay has had a lot of the game, they just haven't been able to put any scoreboard pressure. And that young lady there, Paul, young Mina McLeod, she has been an Adonis. She has got 11 tackles. She just stole that ball. She reefed it out. She's a very, very determined young lady.
Certainly a name to write down and watch, I think, Hoppy, into the future.
So, ball comes out. That's Upton for North Hobart. Gets it towards White. Can't do so. Oh, just running really hard from that half-back flank. Might have been taken just that little bit too high.
I think held on too long, I think.
That's how the umpire has seen it?
Yeah.
Let's just have a look. I mean, I'll go by you, but I thought she was taken high. But let's just see as we have a look here. And look at the Mood Food replay. And I think the old Silver Fox's steady eye has seen that high tackle.
Yeah, definitely too high.
You've still got the L plates on you, young man. Just leave it to the Fox. As that ball is on that half-forward flank. North Hobart take possession, and it is in the centre of the ground, rolling end on end. They run over that one, didn't bend down to pick it up, but North Hobart do, through Rimmer. She's been pretty good. She tries to centre the ball, and that's the only fault I'd like to see is to maybe turn around and utilise more of the ground. I mean, sure, you've got to go up the corridor, but if there is a bit of space out wide, why not use it? But I tell you what, these girls are really well drilled. They've had a really, really good, hard tussle. But North Hobart have just had that little bit more polish, Paul, when the ball's inside their 50.
Certainly playing that premiership third quarter, no doubt about that. They've really tightened the screws man on man here at North Hobart. It is at the moment.
Man on man. Well, I'm never one to pick you up, Paul, because but I would have thought we have to be a little bit clearer on that. We're playing young lady on young lady. But let's don't get politically correct. It is man on man. Noted about that as that young Sandy Bay lady was just bumped slightly and she fell over, but you can see she's just going to grit the teeth and she'll push on. She really hurt her back there, Gasparini, but she's good enough to recover. We've got the thumbs up on the pronunciation there, so that was all good. But as North Hobart, they take the ball, and that was Summers. Only goes as far as Meeburn, but she didn't quite get the handle. But they've got a really good entry here, as we can see. Oh, coming out! What about that mark, Paul, by Lucy Roberts?
That was plugger-like, that one, Hoppy. Just
brilliant.
Brilliant contested mark. Showed lots of confidence, eyes on the footy all the way.
It was very Lockett-esque, as she just, we know she's a good left footer. She goes in.
Slotted it.
Oh, she's gone the barrel. Bring back that, and has put that one through, and all of a sudden there'll be a few doubts, and she is very, very happy. Look at that. She has spun that one through. Gee whiz, that was like the great Peter Hudson used to do, the flat punt, and has got the goal, and that is 2-1-13 to North Hobart, who have got a goal in this quarter, 5-3-33. Do you reckon that might lift their spirits, Paul?
Certainly one against the flow. 20 points isn't out of the picture here. I think there might be a bit of breeze favouring the Brooker Highway end of the ground, and the Lions will have that in the last quarter. So if they can keep in touch, anything can happen.
What they really need now, Paul, is to probably get the next goal, getting 2 in a row. That'll certainly give them belief and put some doubt in. But North Hobart, they've responded so far in this game as they have done all season, and we'll have a look to see how they handle it. As Clerk runs over, she goes back to pick it up, didn't quite get it. She's good enough to get the handball out now. It is certainly lifted a notch, and why wouldn't it? This is STJFL Grand Final Day. And it is the Cripps under-15 division here, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a very, very good game, and it has lifted another notch as the ball comes in towards the true centre half forward position. That is Caitlin Denny, picks it up, goes deep into attack, coming out now with a very nice spoil was the Sandy Bay defender, but only goes as far as Denny. Denny has been terrific in front. It comes over the back, and normally, it must have been touched, was it, Paul? I thought that one went through for the goal.
Yeah, I didn't see the touch, but clearly the umpire was in the best position there to see that. Oh,
it might have just gone to the other side. Gee, that looked as though it went through just for a few minutes, but the umpire right on the job as Parker picks the ball up. They're going back in and taking a nice steady mark and playing on quickly is Mirren Swift, and she has put that one through for her third. And I think that's North Hobart 6, and they'll be certainly absolutely thrilled with that as we watch that on the Mood Food replay. She didn't really muck around there, Paul. She was about 14 metres out, and she saw that she just had that metre on and decided to go back around and slot that one through. And that's what good teams do. They respond.
I think that was the message there from the Lady Demons to the Lions. So stop wagging your tails, because we've got this one. We want it harder.
Gee whiz, and that's exactly what they did do so very, very nicely. And brilliant tackle again there by Lakaseljic. She's been really good, hasn't she? Yeah, I like the way she plays, and ball comes over. Here's a chance now for Sandy Bay to try and get that quick answer. As is normally the case, it comes over the back. There's a big opportunity, but just didn't quite get the strong kick through the ball on that particular occasion.
She had a bit more time there, Hoppy. She could have relaxed and just drilled it through, but I think she felt a bit under pressure. Can happen in a grand final.
Well, no doubt about that. Normally, there was going to be one or two defenders descend upon her, but she had a little bit more time and space. Maybe a lack of talking there, unfortunately, for Gasparini, but she did a good job to move it forward. But they want to get the skates on because it's only in the last minute of play, and they really do need a goal to give them some momentum going into the last quarter. It's a nice tap out as Sandy Bay trying to get their clutches on the ball, but it is Ransom on the last line of defence, palms it out to the teammate. And here they go. It's a 2-on-1 opportunity, and the one for Sandy Bay is really trying hard as they're defending stoutly now. It is North Hobart through the agency of Summers down there. Sandy Bay picked that one up, and that was Lucy Roberts, but she's held the ball, and really nice tackle, and desperation stakes there for the Demons. Goes out towards the wing, picking it up very swiftly with Thomas, and nice. Doesn't she give some run, Paul?
Nice one-armed grab there, very Kutafiti-like.
Oh dear. Isn't it sad that you and I are living in the past of all the Carlton greats? We're not talking about some of the present ones, although I tell you what, there's one or two we might mention in just a few minutes.
Three-quarter time in the under-15 girls grand final, and it's North Hobart 6-4-40, leading Sandy Bay Blue 2-1-13. The goal kickers for North Hobart, 3 to Mirren Swift, 2 to Ella McConnon, and 1 to Grace White. Both Sandy Bay Blue goals have come from Lucy Roberts.
So it is three-quarter time as the girls are coming in for their last minute instructions. So we can see Supercoach Ransom just going out there to young Rimmer and just explaining what he wants out of this particular last quarter. Well, it's their game to lose, Paul, at the moment, North Hobart. They've been terrific so far. They've been just a bit more efficient. As we just have a look down here, in fact, Sandy Bay has had a little bit more of the ball, but they just haven't used it quite as well as North Hobart. Their efficiency inside 50 has been really, really good. And when they get an entry in 50, it tends to become a deep entry, doesn't it? They don't just go inside the 50 and then go out, where Sandy Bay have had a lot of entries where it's just been shallow and they haven't been able to get it quite down as deep as North Hobart have.
Yeah, but don't take it away from the work rate of the North Hobart defence. They've certainly been up to the challenge, and when the opportunities have arisen to contest the ball, they've been there and played very, very well. I think that's probably part of the reason why the Lions are struggling a bit up forward, through that just massive pressure that the Demons defence is putting on. Yes,
we can see down there that coach Callum Ingram is just sort of thinking, and he's one of your modern coaches, Paul. He's got the old hat backwards, very modern. I think that'd look well on you, actually, to be quite honest. But have a look at them here. They're just explaining. And this is the interesting thing now in your modern coaching, isn't it? Just going out through one-on-one, explaining what it is you want out of it. Just being very deliberate, making sure you get eye contact so that the girls understand what it is you're trying, what message it is you're trying to get across.
It's interesting body language coming from the Lions, though, Hoppy. They don't think they're out of this. I think they still feel that it's there for the taking.
Well, it certainly is. I mean, let's be quite blunt. They've had the ball enough. They just haven't been able to score. But if they can get that ball down quickly to people like Roberts, she's been fantastic. Limited opportunities. We can saw from that a few minutes ago that if the ball comes in quickly to her, she can clunk them. I'd like to see them give her a bit more space.
Certainly kicking with a 4-goal breeze in this last quarter too, the Lions. So that may give them the impetus that they need to get up and hold that Premiership Cup high.
Oh, it's something that you covet. I mean, you battle hard all year, and a lot of these young ladies would have started jogging around through the sand dunes, doing all that hard yards back in November, and it comes right through to September, and they're playing in the big dance here at North Hobart. And you can see here Coach Ransom just giving very, very clear instructions. And I know as a coach you'd be playing through your mind all sorts of circumstances. So he would have thought now, Coach Ransom, he thought, right, if we're in this position, what do I want to do? Do I want to go defensive, attacking? Do I want to put players behind the ball? What if Sandy Bay get the first goal? Do I do this? Do I do that? All good coaches look at all these different scenarios prior to them actually happening so that you're proactive, not reactive, and that's what good coaching's about.
I think you'd be emphasising at the moment that they've got to run away with this. They can't take the foot off the gas. They can't go out there and think that the game is won. They've got to now work on extending this margin and really driving it home till the final siren. Otherwise they could get caught napping and the Lions might come up and grab them.
I'm glad that you came up with that theory there, Super Coach Godomski, because I'm firmly of that belief. The best form of defence is attack, and so why when you have got the ascendancy would you go back into your hole and not come out and attack, because it only gives your opposition an opportunity to do a good job. So I think that is exactly what Coach Ransom is saying now. He's saying, let's just keep on going and doing what we're doing. We've been really good all the year, but it counts for nothing unless we can't finish it off in this last 15 minutes.
Certainly holding the groups, both teams holding their huddles together a lot longer than previous quarters. So I think they realise, this is the season on the line here at North Hobart Oval.
Oh, the importance. It's just coming down to moments in the game. As we can see here, the enthusiasm. And you are quite right there, Paul. There's no way known they think they're out of it. And all the Sandy Bay hierarchy, we can see them down there, that they are really thrilled that their girls have made it through to this grand final. And certainly after this game, once the presentations have been given out, Paul, excuse me, we are looking forward to the under-17 game and it is Kingborough Tigers playing New Norfolk. And what are your predictions in that game?
I think it'll be a very, very close game. It'll go down to the last minute, and Kingborough across the line with a big 50-metre bomb.
Well, so you've heard it there. That's something to look forward to. If you think you were going to get out in the garden after the completion of this game, I would rethink that again. As you've heard it straight for the dulcet tones of Paul Godomski, we are in for a crackerjack game of under-17 girls football of those two combatants, the Kingborough Tigers versus Dean King's New Norfolk. And that is going to be a really, really good game.
The Sandy Bay coach has swung the move here with Carney up at centre half forward. She could be the match winner here if she takes a few grabs.
Okay, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see. Ladies and gentlemen, hang on to your hats. It all comes down to this 15 minutes of footy. It is the Cripps STJFL Grand Final in the under-15 girls division. Ball's back in the middle, and they really need a couple of clean possessions here, do Sandy Bay, just to keep that momentum going and their belief alive. And there's a little flicker still there, but they certainly, in that first few minutes of the play, want to get that ball out. As breaking their way through was Chelsea Thomas, but a really good tackle there, Paul.
A great tackle. They need to get the first goal here, Hoppy, to get that momentum.
So it is McLeod, the tackling machine, gets the ball out wide. I like that bit of play. Out towards Abel. We know she can run, but she needs to get a hand on the ball. She's fighting pretty hard, and it's a really good contest with her and Parker out there. But there is the Colossus, that is Lucy Roberts, really pushing and fighting really, really hard. She's playing a little bit higher up the ground as umpire Roberts is going to come in and ball up. The umpiring has been at a very good standard, Paul.
Yeah, certainly always a good standard of umpiring here at the STJFL, Hoppy. They put a lot of work into training them, and we're certainly seeing the fruits of that today.
Yes, and they've been rewarded in their grand final, so hats off to umpires Darren Monks and Samantha Roberts. As North Hobart, the only way home for them is straight through the centre as they're trying to get that one out. A little bit iffy on the way that one did come out, but that was deemed to be a handball. Backing back, not quite taking that mark was Ken, but she's buttering up North Hobart. Wouldn't they just love to put the first nail into what would be the Sandy Bay coffin? But now they're fighting really hard. We can see here, beautifully screwed it back was Denny, the young lady who...
Still a chance.
Gee whiz, and that's a really tight shot on goal. That might be the sealer, Paul.
I think that's the sealer.
We're going to have another look at that one. Gee, that was a very, very tight angle. You didn't really give her much chance. That was good play by Denny, who screwed that ball back towards Ella McConnon, and we shouldn't have doubted her because she's already got 2 goals, and she has threaded that one through the eye of the needle, and that is McConnon's 3rd goal, and that might just be the goal that might snuff out any comeback from Sandy Bay, Paul.
Yeah, certainly she obviously knows where the big sticks are. She was a bit blindsided there, swung around and whacked it on the boot straight through the middle.
So now North Hobart take possession of the ball as Gray picks that one. Bit of a handball now. A low kick goes in towards true centre half forward position. Wagner was there. She can't take the mark as the ball goes back into the centre of play. It is 3 minutes gone, and that first and most important goal went to North Hobart, which really might have steadied their nerves, as back at centre half forward was White. White gets it further afield to the running Thomas. Thomas has been good down back. She tries to get it over the top.
Skills there, great evasive skills.
It certainly was, and I like the look of Denny, who moved down to full forward as that ball comes out. Denny now goes towards the boundary line. I know she'll be a tough competitor. I used to coach her brother Joel, and he only used to run in straight lines, and that's exactly like Caitlin Denny's doing right here in the grand final.
Since that last goal, Hoppy, the Lady Demons have certainly got up and about. They're starting to show some of their skills now.
They certainly have, as Emma Fenner, she's on that one there, and they're really working hard as that ball is being kept in. She's trying to get away. She can do. She's just quickly got her foot to that one. But nicely done by Sandy Bay as they're trying to get that ball out of their defensive area and get it to that much coveted goal that they're really trying to eke out and keep themselves in this game. working hard and wrapped up in the tackle, and the umpire will come in as umpire Monks will throw that ball up. Lovely throw, bursting their way forward. That was Gray. That being deemed holding the ball.
Chris Judd like that.
Certainly was. Didn't she put the afterburners on?
She broken through there. She would have run into an open goal.
Certainly took the game on and didn't. Oh, that's a very, very good mark.
Mark by Olivia Clerk.
Yeah, Clerk with very, very sticky fingers. She's decided we need to run and play and take the game on, and taking a bounce there was Meeburn, but it didn't quite come back to her favour. But Chelsea Thomas, who's been fantastic across half-back, boots it in towards Denny. She comes out and just comes off her chest there,
She's
Paul.
certainly lifted in the last couple of minutes. Chelsea Thomas, one to watch in the last part of this quarter, I think.
Yeah, I want you to keep an eye on who you think might be getting that best on ground. I know you've got a very keen eye. I'll be going to you as certainly at the completion of this game as the ball is running around. We can see umpire Sheeran over there too, and he was limping a little bit, Paul, but hasn't he soldiered on?
He has, and he only got married recently too, so it's very nice of him to give away his honeymoon and come and umpire here today at the STJFL.
Oh, and look at that, over the back, and there is Denny, and she has taken a very, very nice mark, and she is all but only a metre out, and you might think that she can go back and slot this one, and she does. And she has put that one through. Cometh the minute and cometh the players, and you can see her, she's just drifted back. She judged that one to perfection as fullback Wells was doing the right thing and playing in front, but it went over the back with a very nice kick, and Caitlin Denny has slotted that one through for her first goal of the game. And surely now, Paul, at the 6-minute mark in the last quarter, it might be a North Hobart win here in the under-15 division.
I think their style of play now is showing that as they run the ball out of the middle with ease. They're certainly playing with a lot more flair now. I think they realise that it's in the bag.
Gee whiz, very determined play there by the centre half forward, Fenner, as she just bludgeoned that one forward. And now it's going to be a throw-in deep into the attacking area. One of the things that is a new initiative in the STJFL is the presentation area, Paul, where it's down in front of the Peter Sharp Tower, on the ground in front of where all the crowd is. But we'll go back to play in a minute. It's North Hobart. It was a very, very strong tackle brought down by Lakaseljak. It's getting close towards the line, and North Hobart have been able to keep that one alive, but through for a minor score. And as I said, excuse me, so now it's done on the ground where it's in front of the crowd, which is, I quite like that, although I must admit as an old traditionalist I did love that walk up into the grandstand, the George Miller stand, to get that cup. Where do you stand on that one, Paul?
Oh, I'm a bit like you, Hoppy, as an old traditionalist. I think the podium up there in the Horry-Gorringe stand is the place to be, but these days with work health and safety and all those type of rules, you know, we've got to make sure that the kids are safe at all possible times. So doing it on the ground, I think, is the better spot.
Always thinking ahead and all those sort of things was Jim Horn, who not only looks after the health and safety at Cripps the Master Bakers, but he also looks after all the health and safety of over 3,500 kiddies each weekend. So he's a forward thinker.
He is, there's no doubt about that. Not a very good driver though, is Jimmy Horn. He's had a couple of little accidents lately.
Oh, we've got to keep our eye on that, I suppose. He's not getting any younger, Paul, and so we'll keep our eye on that. It is Sandy Bay. They still haven't given up. You can see here they're looking to try and move that ball forward as it goes out towards that half-back flank.
I think it'd be nice in the dying stages of this game for the Lions to get one more goal, reward for effort. They've certainly taken it up to North Hobart today, and they can't walk away disappointed.
No doubt about that. As picking the ball up is Fenner. She is dispossessed on that particular occasion by Meeburn. That umpire Monks has said she might have been rewarded for that one there, Paul, I think. Might have been held a little bit too long in the tackle. So the ball will come back to Sandy Bay's true centre half back position.
So who are you eyeing off for best player on ground for the grand final, Hoppy?
Gee whiz, I tell you what, it's going to be a real challenge. I guess if you look at pure numbers, and we're going to go to the victor now. Swift has been very good with 3. McConnon's been great. I like Fenner and Thomas. They've just added a lot from half back. How did you see it?
I'd be leaning towards Fenner. She's been a real tiger back there. Certainly added a lot of run early in the game and hasn't gone missing in this last quarter either.
Absolutely. But talking of people who are really putting themselves up for that was Caitlin Denny, who's been really good. And here we go with that run.
Fenner again.
Yeah, she's been fantastic. Every time she gets the ball, you can see the crowd, they actually move to the front of their seats because they know something's going to happen. As McConnon just pushes that ball in front. She's a will-o'-the-wisp and she's a very, very accurate kick. They want to watch her if she tries to get that one out. Nice tackle. And the umpire has said, what have they said here? I think they're going to be rewarded for that because it wasn't disposed of correctly. And so Sandy Bay, there's just a bit of confusion. Who's going to get the kick? It is a Sandy Bay kick. And going out very wide, spotting up the player there. Look at this terrific tackling.
She was trying to kick it into touch there.
That's what it appeared, didn't it? But there now, it is at the 10-minute mark, so we're getting down to the last 5 minutes. And I think Supercoach Ransom is just released some of that pressure. I reckon he'd be enjoying this last bit of play,
Nice
Paul.
skills there by Sarah Lakaseljak, running bounce. Isn't it great to see girls at this age having the confidence to run and bounce the ball?
Absolutely, and these young ladies have certainly taken the game on. As
I can vaguely remember, Hoppy, that you were a player that wouldn't bounce the ball, you'd actually touch it on the ground because you weren't confident that it had come back up.
Well, it's a hard skill to learn. There's no doubt about that. Well, I would have even gone better, Paul, if my position, some people thought I played in the wing. I actually played in the car park. I didn't like it too hard. I stayed out as wide as I could. No doubt about that. Wasn't a big physical sort of player, but look at this one, end over end. It's going down and through for the minor score. So it is North Hobart at this stage, 8-6-54 to a gallant Sandy Bay 2-1-13. And although, Paul, that scoreboard, there's quite a gap between them, it hasn't been quite like that because Sandy Bay have had a lot of opportunity, haven't they?
They certainly have, and they've certainly come out to play and they're fighting it out, even though they're well down and the game is gone. They're not hanging their heads low. They're still attacking the ball, which is a credit to the football club, the team and the coach.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to see. They're really fighting hard. Well, we saw that spirit last week when they took on Lauderdale up at Brighton in what was very, very harsh conditions. It started in pretty pleasant conditions, and then the rain and the wind came in, and those girls were so determined. And they earned their place here. There's no doubt about that, and they've been gallant in what is going to be defeat. So it is deep into this last quarter, fighting really hard. That was Kane for Sandy Bay, but it comes back towards North Hobart. I think that might be Ransom who goes the big kick forward. They've got the spare person on the back there. They can pick it up. Well done by Swift to screw the ball back in. It doesn't get a lot of distance. Now's an opportunity. Unselfish. There's a big chance for North Hobart. They just can't quite get the handle on it. And excellent work by them, but Sandy Bay repel another ongoing attack. It's 13 minutes gone, and working hard out there is Lucy Roberts.
And speaking of a challenging weekend, last weekend, let's not forget about umpire Waddington last weekend that had a bit of an incident up there at the ground and had to get taken to hospital. I'm sure that Mark's probably listening to this coverage, and a big shout out to you, Mark, at Royal Hobart Hospital. Hope you're on the recovery and good luck with your operation this week. Yeah,
he's a very good umpire as the old give and go, and that was pretty tricky sort of play by Sandy Bay. They just got ahead of himself, and that's the sort of play that we know they can do, Paul. You and I were speaking about that, and last night we watched a lot of footage in preparation for this game, and that was the sort of thing we were hoping that they were going to come and bring to the table.
Certainly good defence, and look at this run here. One bounce, two bounces, and still going.
Oh, nice come inside.
That's play of the day, Hoppy.
There's no doubt about that.
Young Ella McConnell, that's certainly thrown her into vote territory, that effort.
Yeah, that was Manasseh-like, wasn't it? The way she just took the game on and went right down the side. Denny as we know what Denny will do is go straight at the ball, fighting very, very hard as it's coming back in towards the centre of play. Nice work there by Claire Ransom, getting the handball out. Only goes as far as Roberts. It's a bit of stagnant play here, which will suit North Hobart down to the ground, because while there is no scoring, that will be very, very good for them, because they are 54 to a gallant Sandy Bay 13. As a handball comes out, I think that might have been held in the tackle. Good effort there by Summers to try and move the ball on, but tackling has been the feature for Sandy Bay, but they just haven't been quite able to capitalise on their forward thrusts. So now kicking from the true centre half back position right up the centre of the ground. Well played there by Roberts. Centre half forward going out now and trying to pick that one up is Gasparini. She always looks to bring other players into the game. On this particular occasion, she needed a little bit more assistance as it goes out towards the wing position, and it'll be a throw in here deep into the game.
There's the brains trust of the STJFL there, Hoppy, carrying the cup.
Yes, getting things all into readiness.
The STJFL Under-15 Girls 2018 Premiers, North Hobart.
Well, there we go, Paul. North Hobart coming away with what was a very good, hard-fought victory.
8-6-54.
We heard the Demons theme song there. I don't reckon that'll be the last we'll hear of it this September either, just quietly.
Oh, you think there might be a few more going around? I know on Friday night you'll be looking forward to seeing the Demons go around.
Sentimentally, I think there'll be a lot of people barracking for the Demons this year.
Yeah, well, sadly, you and I, we can't be barracking for our team, so that's the team that I would have adopted.
So with that running bounce in the last quarter there, I think in my votes, I'd put Ella McConnon as a chance for the best on ground. Hoppy, what do you think?
Yeah, look, it's going to be very, very close indeed, but I think you might be right, but I still think Fenner. But yeah, that
she certainly played a very physical game. Did Emma Fenner? Gave a lot of run out of the back line, and then in that last quarter through the centre as well. Definitely a chance.
You must be absolutely thrilled, not only to be co-commentating with me, but to be CEO of Cripps, to be associated with sport when you're seeing it played with the passion and the endeavour that these young girls just portrayed right then and there.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just thinking about the crowd, like the number of people here. It's really like being down at Lauderdale for a Tigers Lauderdale match. It's just fantastic that people are coming out and supporting these girls.
Yeah, it sure is.
And the Lions back. The Lions back on the ground.
I hope the Hobart City Council don't notice that one.
Hope they've got one of those little black bags with them.
No doubt about that. So Tony Gibson is getting ready to make all the announcements, and it'll be very, very interesting to see who does come away with that trophy. But one thing, ladies and gentlemen, we do know that North Hobart have come away with the victory, as you can see there, 8-6-54 to 2-1-13.
It looks like STJFL legend Jim Horn is about to present the winning medals.
Yes, all in readiness. A couple of the doyens there of the STJFL. I don't know about that bloke, though, who's holding that sign in the middle. That Donnelly fella.
Looking a bit lazy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Looks like he's been at a good paddock too, just quietly.
Yeah, I think we need to get him a little bit more active. He's not a a great advert for sport, is he? He needs to get out and move a little bit more. I reckon wife Sally might just leave him at the ground and he can walk back to Kingston tonight.
That's a cruel call, that one.
So we're just
we're waiting
here
in
we go
readiness
now
for the announcement of best on ground. Bit of a technical malfunction there.
Should leave it to professionals, shouldn't they, Paul? Got us down there. But anyway, gee, poor old Gibbo. He's you wouldn't want him play him at first slip, would you, for the Australians?
This could be a very, very contentious announcement, this one, Hoppy. That's why he's nervous.
Oh, I reckon he's very nervous. I reckon he's ready to do a runner.
Maybe he's gone to Sandy Bay.
Here we go.
Another great game of football here on the Cripps STJFL Grand Final Day. Congratulations to the North Hobart under-15 girls on being premiers. Commiserations to the Sandy Bay girls. You put up a really good show, come through the finals the hard way each week to get there into Grand Final Day, so well done, girls. I'd now like to invite Sandy Bay coach Callum Ingram to come forward to say a couple of words.
I'd just like to say thank you to North Hobart for the game. They were the best season, our best team all season. So, you know, good on you guys, deserved it. To our girls, we weren't really expected to make it after last week. We had a tough game and we fought through that. So good job to you guys, and thanks to all the sponsors, coaches, helpers. Yeah, thank you.
He's done a great job down there, Paul,
Thanks,
with
Callum.
these young ladies.
I'd now like to invite the STJFL Coach of the Year and the Coach of the North Hobart under-15 team, Jim Ransom, to the microphone.
Thanks, Tony. First of all, I'd like to thank the STJFL for putting on a day like this for girls footy. It's fantastic. It's just coming along every week that we see games. The girls are improving so much, so it's really great to have a day like this to finish it off. Bad luck to the Bay girls. You fought really hard today, I thought, so congratulations. You should be proud of the way you played today. Probably just a bit outgunned in the end, but you didn't stop trying, so that was really good for you. To our girls, really, really proud of you. To make that decision that we made to keep the younger girls in the team at the start of the year, I'm so glad we did now, because it really bonded us into a really strong unit. So well done to our girls, and from me and Chris, thank you very much.
And our best on ground medal today goes to North Hobart player number 32, Mirren Swift.
Well, there you go, Paul. Mirren Swift got 3 goals. Was a pretty good player, obviously very good, as she's taken off the best on ground trophy. Well, she lets her footy do all the talking, there's no doubt about that.
It's unusual to come across a young lady that's short of a few words.
Medallions, which will be presented by our President Jim Horn and assisted by Board Member Sarah Gilbert.
I tell you what, the STJFL board's lifted a bit of intellect when they've got Sarah on board, let me tell you that. We'll go down now and we'll join Chris. Call the victorious players coming forward.
Sash Deneku. Casey Gray. Mirren Swift. Emma Fenner. Ava Moresby. Chelsea Thomas. Macca. Gabby. Gandhi. Grace. Liv. Sophie Ferguson. Bella. Vinny. Playbet. Iris. Amity. Jess. Emma. Libby. Ella. Georgia. Kayla. Caitlin Denny, our captain. And Jim, our coach.
And we now ask the captain and the coach to receive the Premiership Cup from our President, Jim Horde.
There you go, Paul. That's what they were playing for. All those months of hard work, dedication and training amounts to this. The smiles you can see in victory as they take hold of that Premiership Cup.
Certainly a big reward for effort for the season that they've had, and they're certainly going to enjoy this moment.
Oh, well, as we move from one to the other, they're moving along here at the STJFL, but ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break because that is the end of what has been a fantastic game. Just reiterating, it's North Hobart 8-6-54 defeating Sandy Bay 2-1-13 in what was a wonderful performance by North Hobart in the under-15 division in the Cripps STJFL Premiership for season 2018. It's Andrew Hopwood and Paul Godomsky signing off from North Hobart Oval.